I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. Imagine being relentlessly pursued by a rival.
Okay. Sounds stressful already.
Right. But I am not talking about, like, a workplace nemesis or someone holding a grudge for just a few years.
Oh, so something much bigger.
Yeah, much bigger. Imagine a rival who hates you so deeply, so completely, that they hunt you not just across a single lifetime, but, across multiple lifetimes.
Wow. Across entirely different existences.
Exactly. Centuries pass, the world changes, but this one individual's singular obsession with your destruction remains exactly the same.
I mean, that takes the concept of a vendetta and just elevates it to a cosmic, almost elemental level of hostility. It's a terrifying premise, honestly.
It really is. And while that epic scale of rivalry isn't some science fiction concept,
Yes.
it is the literal foundation of the ancient narrative we are exploring today.
It definitely is.
So welcome everyone to this deep dive for the Simplified Awakening channel. It is such a privilege to have you here with us.
Absolutely. We are thrilled you're tuning in.
And before we get lost in the layers of today's story, I want to humbly and genuinely ask you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your valuable comments down below.
Yeah, your support is literally the engine that allows us to keep bringing these incredible wisdom traditions to life.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is a detailed, immersive exploration of a single ancient text.
Right, the Kurungamiga Jataka.
Yes, the Kurungamiga Jataka. This is story number 21 from the classic Jataka tales. And on the surface, it reads like a pretty simple animal fable.
Yeah, just about a clever antelope and a greedy hunter.
But as we pull back the layers, we are actually looking at a massive philosophical treatise on mindfulness, ancient rivalries, and, well, the mechanics of karma.
For sure. But to understand the depth of that animal fable, we can't just jump straight into the forest.
Right. We have to set the stage first.
Exactly. We have to start with the human drama that triggered the telling of the story. Because the Jataka tales operate on a very specific framework.
They aren't just isolated fables, are they?
No, not at all. They are stories of the Buddha's past lives, and they're always told to explain a conflict happening in his present life.
Got it. And in the text, the Buddha is referred to as the master.
Correct.
So let's establish that present-day framing. Where exactly are we starting this narrative?
Well, the setting is a place called the Bamboo Grove. The master is dwelling there, and his followers, who are referred to in the text as the brethren, are gathered in a pavilion known as the Hall of Truth.
The Hall of Truth. That sounds very serene.
You'd think so, right?
Right.
Like a place for quiet meditation.
Yeah.
But today, the atmosphere is incredibly tense.
Oh, really? Why is that?
The brethren are deep in this panicked discussion about a man named Devadatta. And Devadatta is actively and relentlessly plotting to murder the master.
And the text outlines a very specific escalation of violence, too. I mean, it mentions that Devadatta first tries hiring bowmen to assassinate the master.
Yeah, which is a pretty intense opening move.
But when that completely fails, Devadatta actually physically climbs a mountain and hurls a massive rock down at him.
A literal boulder, yeah.
Right. And when that second attempt falls apart, he resorts to unleashing a fearsome, enraged elephant.
Wait, an elephant?
Yeah, an elephant named Dhanapalaka. He unleashes it directly into the master's path.
So he is just exhausting every available method of destruction. You have, like, delegated violence, then environmental hazards, and finally, biological weaponry in the form of a wild beast.
It's like a classic movie villain who keeps setting increasingly elaborate traps, but, just keeps failing.
That's a great way to put it.
But wait, I'm confused by the master's reaction to all of this.
How so?
Well, if the master is so spiritually evolved, why is he even entertaining this rivalry? I mean, a guy is literally throwing boulders and elephants at him.
Right, it seems like a lot to ignore.
And yet, the master scrolls into the Hall of Truth, sits down, and asks what everyone is panicking about. Doesn't acknowledging this nemesis give Devadatta power?
That's a really valid question.
Shouldn't a perfectly enlightened being just, detach from the conflict entirely?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the master isn't engaging with a rivalry in a worldly, ego-driven sense.
Okay, so what is he doing?
His calmness is actually the ultimate manifestation of his detachment. He doesn't view Devadatta's attacks as a fresh, terrifying crisis.
He doesn't.
No. He views them from a cosmic perspective.
Oh, I see. So you are saying he sees this as a repeating loop rather than a new threat.
Precisely. In the Buddhist framework of Samsara, which is, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, The master possesses the memory of his past existences.
So he remembers everything.
Yeah. And when he hears his followers panicking, he explains that Devadatta has been trying to kill him for lifetimes.
Wow, for a lifetime.
The master is perfectly calm because he recognizes the pattern. He is watching the wheel turn, observing a dynamic that has played out centuries before.
Okay, that reframing changes everything. The master's basically telling his followers, look, this is just Devadatta being Devadatta.
Exactly. We've been here before.
Yeah. And that realization seamlessly transitions the narrative into what the text calls the story of the past.
Right, the shift in time.
The master shifts the perspective from the bamboo grove in the present, transporting his listeners to an ancient era. Specifically, the time when a king named Brahmadatta reigned in the city of Benares.
Benares serves as the classic anchor point for the ancient past in these texts. It's almost always where these past life stories start.
And here the master reveals who he was in this previous existence.
Right, he was not a human teacher back then.
No, he was the Bodhisatta, living as an antelope in a deep, dense forest.
And for those who might not be familiar with the terminology, we should probably clarify what Bodhisatta means in this context.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
So, a Bodhisatta, or Bodhisattva, in Sanskrit, is essentially a being who is on the dedicated path to becoming a Buddha.
Okay, so not fully enlightened yet.
Exactly. They aren't fully enlightened yet, but they are living out these countless past lives in various forms. You know, human, animal, deity.
Just moving through the cycle.
Yeah, to acquire specific virtues and spiritual perfections over time. So this antelope isn't just a regular wild animal.
Right.
It is a highly evolved consciousness occupying an animal form.
That makes the next detail in the text really crucial. The story notes that this Bodhisatta antelope has a very specific daily routine.
Animals usually do.
He sustains himself by feeding on the fruit of a particular tree, the sepinchi tree.
And that detail highlights a universal vulnerability. I mean, creatures of habit are entirely predictable.
Very true.
And predictability is a weakness that can be exploited by anyone who takes the time to study those habits.
Which perfectly introduces the antagonist of our past life story, the village hunter.
Ah, the hunter.
And as the master reveals to his followers, this hunter is the past incarnation of Devadatta.
Which makes total sense for the rivalry.
So let's look at the asymmetry of the situation. You
Yeah.
have a wild animal operating in the forest, just, seeking breakfast.
Doing what animals do.
Exactly. And against him, you have a human being utilizing calculated strategy. The hunter doesn't just wander aimlessly hoping to stumble across a deer.
No, his methodology is methodical and, frankly, pretty grim.
Very grim.
He tracks the local deer, observes their feeding grounds, and identifies the specific trees they always return to.
Like the sepinchi.
Exactly. And once he finds fresh tracks at the base of a tree, he utilizes his ultimate tactical advantage, which is elevation.
Oh, right.
He literally climbs into the branches, builds a hidden platform, and just wakes.
The text mentions he waits up there with a javelin, ready to strike downward, kill the animal, and sell its flesh in the village.
It's a complete premeditated ambush.
It really is. The human intellect is weaponizing the animal's biological clock and dietary preferences against it.
That's a brutal way to put it, but it's completely accurate.
From a purely logistical standpoint, instinct alone should not be able to defeat that level of human premeditation.
And that tension is the core of the narrative. The hunter finds the tracks right at the base of the sepinchi tree.
He knows his target is coming back.
Yep, he builds his platform in the branches and arrives early the next morning, javelin in hand, ready for the slaughter. The trap is perfectly set.
But the antelope is the bodhisatta. He possesses a level of awareness that transcends basic animal instinct.
He isn't just going to blindly walk in.
Right. And the encounter that follows at the sepinchi tree is an absolute masterclass in observation.
It really is. The antelope arrives early for his meal, but he does not charge in.
He holds back.
The text provides a window into the antelope's internal monologue here. He knows the threat environment of the forest.
Right. He understands the risks.
He is fully aware that hunters build platforms in trees. So he halts at a distance to reconnoiter.
He pauses. He surveys the scene before committing his physical body to the space under the branches.
Which is such a crucial step.
It is. And here's where it gets really interesting. Here is where the hunter's entire strategy begins to fracture logically.
Oh, absolutely.
Up in the tree, the hunter watches his prey just standing there, out of range, refusing to step into the kill zone.
The trap fundamentally relies on the prey coming to the bait naturally. But the hunter makes a fatal psychological error.
What does he do?
He lacks discipline. When the antelope hesitates, the hunter becomes incredibly impatient and tries to force the situation.
He tries to make it happen.
Yeah, he takes some of the serpentine fruit and deliberately throws it down onto the ground in front of the antelope, attempting to lure him in.
But that single act of impatience destroys the trap.
It completely ruins it.
Because, gravity does not pitch fruit outward like a baseball.
Right, fruit just drops.
The antelope sees the fruit fall, and his deduction is instantaneous. Here's the fruit coming to meet me.
That's such a brilliant line.
He tracks the unnatural trajectory of the fruit, looks up into the branches, and spots the hunter sitting right there on his platform.
The anomaly in the environment exposed the threat. And, mindfulness in this context is not about sitting quietly with your eyes closed.
It's not just a meditative state.
No, it is a highly active, tactical survival mechanism. It is the ability to recognize when the pattern of your environment has been manipulated.
But the antelope doesn't just bolt into the brush right away, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He decides to engage in a bit of psychological warfare. He feigns ignorance and directs his dialogue not at the human with the spear, but at the tree itself.
It is a brilliantly theatrical moment. The antelope speaks to the tree, pointing out that under normal circumstances, fruit falls straight down to the ground, hanging like a pendant creeper.
There's a straight drop.
Yeah. But today, the tree is acting completely out of character. It is actively throwing fruit.
Which trees notoriously do not do.
Right. And because the tree has ceased to act like a natural tree, the antelope declares he will simply go look for food elsewhere.
The source text captures the exact stanza the antelope recites. It goes, "The antelope knows well the fruit you drop. I like it not. Some other tree I'll seek."
It is so polite, but such an absolute dismantling of the hunter's ego.
It really is. He is essentially telling the hunter, I see the mechanics of your trap, I am unimpressed, and I am leaving.
Which naturally completely shatters the hunter's composure.
I get.
He hasn't just lost a meal, he has been intellectually outmaneuvered by an animal. And this brings us to the climax of the fable, shifting the focus from physical survival to the spiritual consequences of malice.
The hunter just loses all restraint at this point. Realizing his cunning has failed, he resorts to blind, frustrated violence.
The mask totally slips.
He hurls his javelin at the retreating antelope, screaming out, "Be gone! I've missed you this time!"
But the physical attack completely fails. The javelin hits nothing but dirt.
Thankfully.
But the antelope stops, wheels around, and delivers a powerful karmic retort to the hunter.
A warning.
A profound warning. He says that the hunter may have missed the physical target today, but he will absolutely not miss the spiritual reward of his actions.
And the text is incredibly specific about the penalty, too. The antelope names the 8 large and the 16 lesser hells and all the 5 forms of bonds and torture.
That is a very heavy consequence.
I need to push back on this concept, though, just a little.
Okay, sure.
The hunter's hands are physically clean. I mean, no blood was spilled. The antelope walked away unharmed. Why does the hunter incur this massive cosmic penalty of multiple hells just for trying and failing? Does the outcome not matter?
This raises an important question, and to understand this, we have to look at how karma actually functions in Buddhist philosophy.
Okay, lay it out for me.
Karma is not a cosmic judge handing down sentences. It is a natural law of cause and effect. And the engine of karma is a concept called Sattana, which translates to volition or intention.
Ah, intention. So think of it like pulling the pin on a grenade, but dropping it inside your own bunker.
That's a very vivid analogy, but yes.
The fact that your intended target outside the bunker escaped completely unharmed doesn't matter. You still detonated the malice inside your own spiritual house.
That is an excellent way to conceptualize it. The failure of the trap doesn't erase the darkness of the premeditation.
Because the intent was already there.
Exactly. The hunter climbed the tree with the intent to kill. He threw the spear with the intent to kill. The Sattana, the volition, was fully formed. Therefore, the karmic debt is fully incurred.
Wow.
And regarding the hells mentioned, these aren't necessarily literal fire and brimstone locations in the Western sense.
Okay, what are they then?
They represent states of severe spiritual bondage and suffering that the mind creates for itself through malicious actions.
So the hunter bound himself to suffering the moment he built the platform, regardless of where the javelin eventually landed.
Exactly. And this brings the narrative full circle back to the bamboo grove. The master concludes his story to the brethren by revealing the true identities of the ancient characters.
Right, connecting the past to the present.
He tells them the platform-building hunter, consumed by impatience and malice, was Devadatta, and the mindful, observant antelope was the master himself.
So the rivalry in the present is literally just an echo of the
It's
past.
the exact same dynamic.
Devadatta's reliance on violence, convoluted traps, and blind impatience ultimately failed against the Bodhisatta's awareness and cosmic understanding.
It demonstrates that Devadatta hasn't learned the lesson of the Sattana tree. He is still building platforms and throwing fruit, just, you know, using assassins and elephants instead of javelins.
So what does this all mean for us? I mean, we aren't ancient antelopes foraging in a forest, and hopefully, we don't have assassins plotting against us.
Let's hope not.
But the psychological mechanics of this story are incredibly relevant. We are all creatures of habit. We all have routines, patterns, and our own sapant trees that we return to daily.
Right. And because we have predictable routines, we are vulnerable to having those routines exploited.
That is the real takeaway here. Mindfulness isn't just about feeling calm or reducing stress. It is a tactical survival mechanism against those who try to exploit your predictability.
That's a really sharp way to frame it.
Think about the free fruit in your own life. When an opportunity drops out of nowhere, a shortcut, an offer that seems too good to be true, or an explosive emotional trigger demanding an immediate reaction, do you blindly consume it because it's in front of you?
Or do you pause, survey the environment, and look up at the branches to see who or what is throwing the fruit?
Exactly. Because if you don't pause, you become a victim of your own habits. The antelope survived because he refused to let his hunger override his intellect.
He stayed present.
He maintains situational awareness in a familiar environment, which, let's be honest, is the hardest place to stay alert.
It really is. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to consider regarding the obstacles we face in our own lives.
That's that.
If the Master's cosmic perspective is accurate, and if our current struggles and even our most relentless adversaries are merely repeating patterns, how much power do they actually hold over us right now?
Oh, that completely neutralizes the threat.
Right. If the traps are fundamentally the same, relying on our predictable reactions, then the adversary's power is entirely dependent on our blindness.
That's powerful.
If we simply remain aware, recognize the falling fruit for what it is, and refuse to step into the kill zone, the hunter is left sitting in a tree with nothing but his own frustration.
You turn a crisis into a recognizable pattern, and you just walk away. That perspective-shifting wisdom is exactly what we aim to uncover here.
Absolutely.
We want you to stay hooked on these explorations, because next time on the Simplified Awakening channel, we are going to dive into another incredible ancient story from the Jataka tales, uncovering more hidden wisdom about past lives and the cycles that shape our reality.
Because the archives of the past always hold the blueprints for our present challenges.
They truly do. So please, take a moment right now, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment below. What was your specific aha moment today? What is the free fruit in your life that you need to step back from and observe? Let us know.
We'd love to read your thoughts.
And remember, the next time you feel pressured to rush into a situation that feels slightly off, look up at the branches, analyze the trajectory, and never be afraid to seek another tree. We will see you next time.